Africa, where the rawest human instincts still echo across vast, untamed wilderness. Beneath its breathtaking beauty lies a world where life doesn't just exist. It fights to survive in places untouched by modern civilization. Here, time isn't measured by clocks, but by the rhythm of survival, by the heartbeat of those who endure. Hidden deep within ancient forests and along deadly cliffs are some of the most mysterious tribes on Earth. They live by unforgiving laws, guarding their land with unmatched courage. This is not a journey for the faint-hearted. Africa, the second largest continent on Earth, stretches across nearly 30 million square kilometers and is home to over 1 billion people. From scorching deserts in the north to dense tropical forests in the south, its extreme diversity has shaped one of the harshest environments for human survival. For thousands of years, tribes have adapted to these conditions, evolving alongside nature rather than trying to control it. The story of Africa itself began hundreds of millions of years ago when it was part of the ancient supercontinent Pangaea. Around 200 million years ago, the land slowly broke apart, forming the continents we know today and giving birth to powerful geological features, towering mountains, vast deserts, and deep valleys. Among them, the Great Rift Valley stands as one of the most striking, a massive scar stretching across the continent where tectonic plates continue to pull apart even today. But geography doesn't just shape the land, it shapes people. In regions where deserts, forests, and plains collide, cultures have emerged that are as resilient as the environments they inhabit. Tribes like the Mursi and the Zulu have lived in harmony with nature for centuries, each developing unique ways to survive while preserving their identity. In Africa, culture is not just tradition, it is survival. Nature is not seen as something to conquer, but something to respect. It is teacher, protector, and provider. This connection is reflected in rituals, beliefs, and daily life, from hunting and farming to spiritual ceremonies honoring natural forces. Festivals bring communities together, not just for celebration, but to pass down knowledge, values, and identity from one generation to the next. Clothing too tells a story. Made from natural materials like animal skins, woven fabrics, and plant fibers, it represents status, belief, and belonging. Here, education doesn't come from classrooms, but from life itself. My journey begins in one of the most remote regions of Ethiopia, among the Mursi tribe. Living near the border with Sudan, the Mursi inhabit a harsh, arid land where survival demands constant resilience. As I approach, one image stands out: the women with their iconic lip plates. This tradition, both striking and symbolic, begins when a girl reaches adulthood. Small plates are gradually replaced with larger ones, stretching the lower lip over time. To outsiders, it may seem extreme, but within the tribe, it represents beauty, strength, and social status. But this is only a small part of their world. The Mursi rely heavily on cattle, which are not just a source of food, but a symbol of wealth, power, and identity. Their entire way of life revolves around protecting and nurturing these animals. Their homes, built from clay, wood, and leaves, blend seamlessly into the surrounding landscape, a quiet reflection of their deep connection with nature. Life here is simple, yet profoundly complex. Rituals play a central role, from honoring ancestors to intense coming-of-age ceremonies. Young men must prove their strength and courage through physical trials, such as jumping across the backs of cattle, a test that determines their place within the community. Watching the Mursi, one thing becomes clear: this is not a life of comfort, but of quiet endurance. Their strength is not loud, it is inherited, passed down through generations who have learned to survive against all odds. And in that stillness, there is something powerful. Leaving the Mursi behind, my journey continues deeper into Ethiopia, toward the Nyangatom tribe. Living in dry, unforgiving lands near the Sudanese border, the Nyangatom face constant challenges, limited resources, harsh climates, and isolation. Yet somehow, they don't just survive, they endure. Their homes may appear fragile, built from earth and grass, but they reflect something much stronger, a deep, unbreakable bond between people and their environment. What stands out most is their sense of unity. In a place where survival is never guaranteed, community becomes everything. Their rituals are not only spiritual, they are moments of connection where traditions are shared and preserved. Every day here is a lesson in resilience. As I leave the Nyangatom, one truth becomes undeniable. Survival is not just about strength, it's about adaptation, connection, and purpose. After 3 days, My journey leads me to the Hamar tribe, also in Ethiopia's Omo Valley. This is a land where life struggles to exist, yet somehow thrives through tradition. The Hamar are known for their striking appearance and powerful rituals. As I arrive, I'm immediately drawn to the women, their skin glowing under a layer of red ochre, a mixture of clay and butter. This is not just decoration, it carries deep spiritual meaning, symbolizing life, identity, and a connection to ancestors. Adorned with metal jewelry and vibrant garments, they embody both beauty and strength. But behind that, beauty lies a culture defined by endurance, where every tradition tells a story of survival in one of the harshest places on earth. Each piece of jewelry is not merely decoration, but a symbol carrying deep meaning, reflecting family ties, identity, and social status within the Hamar community. Yet what truly allowed me to feel the depth of their culture was their powerful coming-of-age ritual, a ceremony that stands as one of the most intense and defining moments in their society, where a young man, upon reaching adulthood, must prove himself by leaping across the backs of cattle in front of the entire tribe. And this is not just a physical challenge, but a moment filled with tension, pride, and expectation as the whole community gathers to witness, cheer, and judge, turning the act into a test of courage, honor, and belonging, while also showing deep respect to the cattle, which are considered sacred and central to both survival and spiritual life. Life among the Hamar is undeniably harsh, where water is scarce, food is limited, and every day demands effort and endurance. Yet despite these conditions, what stands out most is their remarkable inner strength and spiritual resilience, as they live in complete harmony with nature, relying on hunting, herding livestock, and traveling long distances to collect water from rare sources, using everything around them with purpose and respect, where nothing is wasted and every element of their environment becomes part of their survival, and even the animals are not seen as mere resources but as living beings with names, value, and meaning, making their care a sacred responsibility that connects the people deeply to the land they inhabit. In this place, the bond between humans and nature is not abstract or symbolic, but something tangible and present in every action and decision, shaping a way of life that has allowed the Hamar people to endure for generations despite the relentless challenges imposed by their environment. And my time with them was not just an observation of culture, but an experience that revealed the true meaning of resilience, showing how a community can build strength, balance, and identity in conditions where survival is never guaranteed. And when I finally left, I realized that what they had given me was not just knowledge, but a shift in perspective, teaching me that life is not always about achieving greatness or chasing success, but often about endurance, respect, and the ability to live in harmony with whatever challenges come your way. After leaving the Hamar, my journey continued deeper into Africa toward the Turkana tribe in northern Kenya, a region defined by its harsh desert climate and unforgiving conditions near the borders of Ethiopia and Uganda, where survival is shaped by constant movement and adaptation. And from the moment I arrived, it was clear that the Turkana people are defined by resilience, as their lives revolve around livestock such as cattle, goats, and camels, which are not only essential for survival, but also serve as powerful symbols of wealth, identity, and social structure within the tribe. And despite living in an environment where water is scarce, temperatures are extreme, and resources are limited, they have managed to build a life that is both strong and deeply connected to nature. Their homes are temporary structures made from locally available materials such as straw, dry grass, and animal hides. Simple in appearance, yet perfectly suited to the environment, reflecting a deep understanding of the land and its limitations. But beyond survival, what truly defines the Turkana is their sense of unity, as ceremonies and gatherings bring the community together to celebrate, support one another, and reinforce their shared values, where dance, rituals, and traditional competitions become expressions of strength, endurance, and cultural pride. Yet behind these moments of celebration lies a constant struggle against drought, famine, and scarcity, where every drop of water is precious and every decision carries weight, making life here not a pursuit of comfort, but a continuous journey of resilience, adaptation, and connection to the natural world. Despite living in such a harsh environment and facing countless challenges, the Pokot people maintain a deeply self-reliant way of life and a strong respect for nature. They do not rely solely on livestock, but also use natural materials to build their homes, craft tools, and create jewelry. Their traditional houses, made from earth and dried grass, reflect their remarkable ability to live in harmony with the land and make full use of what nature provides. When I left the Pokot community, I felt a profound respect for this tribe. In a rapidly changing and often chaotic world, they have managed to preserve their traditional values. They do not live in pursuit of fame or glory, but rather to sustain a united community that exists in balance with nature despite the hardships of their environment. Their way of life is a powerful example of resilience and perseverance. No matter how severe the conditions may be, they have sustained their presence and development for centuries through their close connection to nature and strong community solidarity. My visit to the Pokot people taught me that, in life, what matters most is not always great achievement, but endurance, respect, and the ability to survive in harmony with the world around us. From there, my journey continued to the Zulu tribe in South Africa, one of the most renowned and influential tribes on the continent. Located in the southeastern region near the Indian Ocean coast, the Zulu are known not only for their historical significance, but also for their cultural strength, unity, and resilience. What impressed me most about the Zulu people were their festivals and traditional rituals. They are widely recognized for their music, dance, and ceremonies dedicated to honoring ancestors and spiritual beliefs. One of the most important celebrations is the Ukosi Wakweshwama festival, a harvest ceremony in which the Zulu express gratitude to their ancestors and nature, praying for abundance and prosperity. During this event, powerful drumming, traditional dances, and ancestral songs fill the villages with energy and life. For the Zulu, dance and music are not merely forms of entertainment, but a way to preserve history, tell heroic stories, and pass on life lessons. However, their culture is not limited to celebration alone. Struggle and warfare are also deeply rooted in their history. The Zulu society is traditionally well organized, led by chiefs who maintain order and guide important community decisions. Family bonds and respect for elders and ancestors remain central to their way of life. Every member of the Zulu community carries the responsibility of preserving and strengthening the legacy of their people. Despite the difficulties they have faced, the Zulus' unity and resilience continue to serve as a powerful source of strength. They live not only for themselves, but for the survival and continuity of their culture, carefully protecting the traditions built by their ancestors. Through every ritual and every chapter of their history, they affirm their identity and enduring spirit. After leaving the Zulu tribe, my journey took me to the Samburu people in Kenya, where I encountered a vibrant and deeply rooted culture shaped by a challenging environment. Living in the arid lands of northeastern Kenya, the Samburu are a nomadic community known for their ability to survive where water is scarce and the land is unforgiving. Yet it is precisely these hardships that have shaped their strong connection to nature and their ancient traditions. What stood out most about the Samburu people was their spirit of unity and hospitality. Despite the scarcity of resources and difficult living conditions, they maintain a strong sense of community. As pastoral nomads, they move from place to place in search of water and grazing land for their livestock. Alongside livestock herding, they practice rituals that honor nature and their ancestors, believing in protective spiritual forces. These ceremonies are expressions of gratitude and requests for blessings and protection. Harvest-related festivals are among their most significant traditions, bringing people together to dance, sing, and participate in cultural games that reinforce unity and respect for the natural world. Each celebration strengthens family ties and community bonds while sharing knowledge and experiences of survival in such a demanding environment. Most remarkable is their resilience in the face of adversity. Without modern tools or advanced technology, they continue to thrive through deep environmental knowledge and adaptation. What I learned from the Samburu is the vital importance of unity and resilience in extreme conditions. They do not merely survive, they preserve their cultural identity and values across generations. From the cliff villages of Mali to the floating settlements of Nigeria and beyond, each of these communities reveals a different way human beings adapt to some of the most extreme environments on Earth, proving that survival is not only about resources, but also about culture, cooperation, and endurance. The first feeling upon climbing the narrow steps carved into the cliff is a mixture of awe and a slight sense of fear. In earlier times, reaching this place meant being lowered in rope nets or ascending fragile ladders where people quite literally entrusted their lives to fate. Looking at the solid stone walls built right on the edge of the cliff, I couldn't help but admire the medieval builders who constructed them. Every stone and every sack of earth had to be carried up by hand. This was not merely architecture, it was an act of conviction and endurance. Ushguli, Georgia. Ushguli is among the highest continuously inhabited settlements in Europe, located at an altitude of around 7,200 feet above sea level. It consists of roughly 200 residents spread across 4 small villages. The iconic stone defensive towers, standing 70 to 80 feet tall, were built between the 9th and 12th centuries and still endure today. For nearly half the year, heavy snowfall isolates the community from the outside world, with temperatures dropping below -4 degrees Fahrenheit. Situated at the base of Mount Shkara, Georgia's highest peak at 17,059 feet, Ushguli is a place where isolation, history, and survival are deeply intertwined. Kandovan, Iran. In Kandovan, people do not build houses on land. In the usual sense, they carve them directly into volcanic rock formations shaped by ancient ash and lava flows. These homes are embedded deep within steep cliff faces, where a single misstep outside the doorway can mean standing at the edge of a drop. Despite the seemingly fragile and jagged landscape, these rock dwellings have stood for over 700 years. They are a living example of humanity's ability to adapt to geology rather than resist it. Life here demands balance, caution, and a constant awareness of the terrain. Taos Pueblo, USA. Taos Pueblo represents one of the oldest continuously inhabited communities in North America. Its multi-storied adobe buildings rise like stacked blocks, forming a dense structure that has endured for centuries at the foot of the Sangre de Cristo Mountains. Historically, the design served both communal and defensive purposes, with minimal ground-level openings and a construction style adapted to survival and protection. Even today, it remains a powerful symbol of continuity, cultural identity, and resilience in the face of time. Oymyakon, Russia. Oymyakon is one of the coldest permanently inhabited places on Earth, where winter temperatures can plunge to -50 degrees Celsius, with recorded extremes near -71 degrees Celsius. At such temperatures, even everyday objects behave differently, ink can freeze, and metal can become dangerously cold to the touch. Homes are built with thick wooden structures raised on piles driven deep into the ground. This design prevents heat from the houses from melting the permafrost below, which would otherwise destabilize the foundations. Survival here depends entirely on adaptation to extreme cold and precision in construction. Tristan da Cunha, United Kingdom, Overseas Territory. Tristan da Cunha is one of the most remote inhabited islands in the world, located near a volcanic peak over 2,000 meters high. In 1961, a volcanic eruption forced the evacuation of the entire population to England, marking a stark reminder of the island's vulnerability. Today, its small settlement is built from sturdy stone structures designed to withstand strong South Atlantic storms. Life here is shaped by isolation and the constant awareness that nature ultimately dictates the terms of existence. Supai Village, Arizona, USA. Deep within Havasu Canyon lies Supai Village, surrounded by towering cliffs that rise hundreds of meters above the settlement. The isolation is so extreme that supplies are often delivered by mule, and communication infrastructure remains limited. Sudden flash floods pose a constant threat, as rainfall far upstream can transform the canyon into a powerful water channel within hours. Residents must remain alert to natural warnings and be prepared to move quickly to higher ground when necessary. Chin State Cliff Villages, Myanmar. In Chin State, homes are built on steep cliff edges where the ground drops into deep ravines. Wooden houses on stilts cling to the rock face, creating a settlement that feels suspended between sky and void. Every step produces creaking sounds through bamboo structures, and mist often passes directly through the home. Despite the apparent danger, these locations historically offered protection from wildlife and conflict, turning isolation into safety. Tanah Toraja, Indonesia. In Tanah Toraja, life and death are deeply intertwined. The deceased are often kept within the family home for extended periods, treated as if they are still part of daily life rather than gone. Funeral ceremonies are elaborate and can last several days, involving traditional rituals and symbolic animal sacrifices. Burial practices vary widely, including cliffside tombs and even tree burials for infants. In this culture, death is not an end, but a gradual transition maintained within the community. Longyearbyen, Norway. Located in the Arctic, Longyearbyen is one of the northernmost inhabited settlements in the world, where avalanche risk and extreme cold shape everyday life. Seasonal instability and melting permafrost have made the ground increasingly unpredictable, requiring reinforcement of buildings with deep steel supports. Residents frequently face evacuation warnings during winter storms, and survival depends on constant respect for environmental volatility. Igbo-Ora, Nigeria. Igbo-Ora is widely known for its unusually high number of twin births, giving the town a distinctive and almost surreal social atmosphere. Walking through its streets, the repetition of faces creates a strong sense of familiarity and community identity. Cultural and dietary explanations are often discussed locally, and the phenomenon has become part of the town's identity, shaping both daily life and global curiosity about the community. Civita di Bagnoregio, Italy. Civita di Bagnoregio appears as though it is suspended in mid-air, perched on a fragile volcanic plateau, slowly eroding over time. The village is connected by a long pedestrian bridge, emphasizing its isolation and vulnerability. From a distance, it seems almost detached from the surrounding landscape, as if it could collapse into the valleys below. Yet it remains inhabited, representing a delicate balance between human presence and geological decay. Guyang Tunnel Road, China. This tunnel road was carved manually into a mountain by local villagers over several years, using simple tools. Stretching through deep cliffs with minimal safety barriers, it remains one of the most precarious roads in the region. Originally created to break isolation, it stands as a powerful example of collective effort and determination under extreme conditions. Brazil, BR-116 is one of Brazil's major highways, stretching across the country but containing sections that are notoriously dangerous due to sharp bends, dense fog, and unstable road conditions. Driving here requires constant attention, as visibility can drop suddenly and road edges often disappear into steep drop-offs. It is a vital route, yet one that demands both skill and caution. Trollstigen, Norway. Trollstigen is a mountain road famous for its steep gradient and series of tight hairpin bends carved into dramatic terrain. The road climbs through cliffs and waterfalls, creating a visually striking but demanding driving experience. Weather conditions change rapidly, and large vehicles often navigate the narrow bends with difficulty, making it both a tourist attraction and a technical challenge. Transfăgărășan Highway, Romania. This high-altitude road cuts through the Carpathian Mountains, featuring continuous winding turns and rapidly shifting weather conditions. Drivers can experience sunshine, fog, and even snow within a single journey. The narrow road edges and steep drop-offs create a constant sense of exposure, while occasional wildlife crossings add unpredictability. Kekili Highway. This road is carved directly into steep mountain terrain with minimal protective barriers. In many sections, it is only wide enough for a single vehicle, forcing careful coordination between drivers. Sharp bends, rockfalls, and sheer cliffs make it a route where precision and patience are essential for survival. Canning Stock Route, Australia. One of the most remote tracks on Earth, the Canning Stock Route crosses vast desert regions with extreme isolation and harsh environmental conditions. Traveling it requires extensive preparation, as help is far away and the landscape offers little margin for error. It remains a route defined by endurance, navigation skill, and respect for the desert. Established in 1910 for cattle herding, this remote route was never designed for comfort or convenience. It has no paved roads, no gas stations, and most importantly, no margin for error. Reaching it requires navigating around roughly 51 massive sand dunes, each one reshaping the difficulty of the journey. The road surface is dominated by harsh corrugations that violently shake vehicles, often damaging axles or dislodging unsecured equipment. A single breakdown in the middle of the route can lead to extremely costly towing operations, sometimes reaching tens of thousands of dollars, with rescue delays stretching for days due to the isolation. The 915 Bayburt, Turkey. The D915 road connects Ov and Bayburt over a distance of approximately 106 kilometers, but its most infamous section lies in the Derebashi Virajlar area. Here, the road features between 29 and 38 extremely sharp hairpin bends, including a 5.1 kilometer stretch packed with 17 consecutive turns. Rising between roughly 1,712 metres and 2,350 metres above sea level, the gradient reaches up to 17%. The road is so narrow that oncoming vehicles often must reverse to pass each other, and there are no protective guardrails. Mostly unpaved or gravel-surfaced and highly prone to landslides, the route becomes especially dangerous in winter when weather conditions shift unpredictably. Driving here is widely described as intense and nerve-wracking, demanding full concentration at every second. Passage du Gois, France. The Passage du Gois is a 4.12 km tidal causeway connecting Noirmoutier Island to the mainland. What makes it extraordinary is not its structure, but its disappearance twice daily beneath the Atlantic Ocean under up to 4 meters of water. The road is only usable for a short window about 1.5 hours before and after low tide. Outside that period, it is completely submerged, leaving no visible trace. Drivers must carefully time their crossing. A delay of minutes can turn a road trip into a dangerous flood situation. Stelvio Pass, Italy. One of the most famous mountain passes in the Alps, Stelvio Pass sits on the Italian-Swiss border and is known for its dramatic elevation and 48 to 60 hairpin bends. The northern side alone contains 48 numbered switchbacks that challenge even experienced drivers. Some sections are so narrow that only one vehicle can pass at a time, and large vehicles often require multiple maneuvers to complete a turn. With steep drop-offs and minimal barriers, even a small mistake can have severe consequences. Its history of accidents has only strengthened its reputation as one of the most demanding driving roads in Europe. Los Caracoles Pass, Chile, Argentina. At over 3,000 meters in the Andes, Los Caracoles is famous for its tightly coiled switchbacks that resemble a snail shell when viewed from above. The road climbs relentlessly with continuous turns that force constant steering adjustments. Many sections lack guardrails, and snow frequently covers the route for much of the year, making traction and visibility major challenges. A small error can send a vehicle into deep mountain ravines below. Rohtang Pass, India. Located near Manali at an altitude of around 3,978 meters, Rohtang Pass features dozens of tight hairpin bends and extremely narrow sections where only one vehicle can pass at a time. Steep cliffs on one side and deep valleys on the other make driving especially risky. Weather conditions are highly unpredictable, and heavy tourist traffic often causes long delays, sometimes lasting several hours or even an entire day. Despite its danger, the route remains popular for its dramatic mountain scenery. Zojila Pass, India. Zojila connects the Kashmir Valley with Ladakh at an elevation of about 3,528 meters. The road is extremely narrow and unpaved, often reduced to dirt, mud, and loose gravel. With sheer drops on one side and cliffs on the other, passing oncoming traffic becomes a tense negotiation. During bad weather, the surface becomes slippery and unstable, making driving especially hazardous. Across these landscapes, whether dunes, cliffs, frozen mountains, or tidal crossings, the message remains the same. Human access to nature's most extreme environments is never guaranteed, and survival depends on timing, precision, and respect for the limits of the road.